Here at the New York Comic Con, and check it out, we got the cast here of American Gods. Give it up for Pablo, Ricky, and Yetide. Okay, kids, it's been a great con for you guys so far because I think I saw you in San Diego. I definitely saw you in San Diego, but nobody had seen the show yet.
Well, they've seen it now.
Not that time. Not that time. Pardon?
They've seen it now.
They have seen it now. What do you think? It's a good reaction. Does anyone understand what's going on? Just my man in the front. Good to know.
Now, this is the show based on Neil Gaiman's work, of course, American Gods. It's on Stars. When I saw you last, it hadn't played yet. We got to chit-chat about it. Now that it's been out there and it's been hailed, people love it to death. What's it like moving about in the world? Do you get recognized from that versus other stuff? I know you probably get recognized from Orange is the New Black and stuff like that, but what level of recognition does New Gods bring with it? Do you get comic book fans coming up to you and saying, thank you, or what?
I try to put on like really crazy costumes and facial hair every time I do a role. So no, I don't get recognized at all. Nobody knows who I am, which is great. Ricky, on the other hand, everybody knows Ricky.
I don't even know what that means.
Look at that face. He's so adorable, isn't he?
Hi, puppy. Hey. No, it's
Hey, man,
great.
keep it here, would you?
Sorry, I'm sorry. She's a cutie over there, right? Hey, how you doing? No, it's a great honor to be connected to such, a fantastic project and the people involved. You mentioned Neil Gaiman. We have the incredible Brian Fuller and Michael Green. Go and watch Blade Runner in cinemas this weekend by Michael Green.
That's right, Michael.
Always got to plug our boys. So, to be connected to those names is a great honor. And then obviously we have this fantastic cast that we're going to get to call family and friends now. So I'm looking forward to, taking this journey along with all of them and all of you here today and back home and around the world. And it's going to be a good few years of just insane madness and hype. So I'm looking forward to that journey.
First time for you in genre world, Yetide?
Yes, I mean, everyone knows that I'm a big geek and I love all of this. So I've been, abandoning my post every once in a while. I'm like, wait, Mark Hamill's here? What? What's happening? And it has been interesting to have people say, oh, Bilquis, I enjoy your character, but I am terrified of you.
Well, you have like one of the most memorable intros for a character of all time. As delicately as you can, for those in the audience that don't know, describe how we meet her.
Okay, what are the words I can use? No, it's, I think Orlando describes it best. It's a kind of a reverse childbirth, if you can imagine.
Reverse childbirth.
I think yes, that's
instead of giving birth to a small child, infant, you devour fully grown adults.
As you do, yes.
Basically.
Spoken as eloquently as Neil Gaiman could have written it.
There you go. Welcome to our show.
What kind of person now do you meet in the street who comes up to you? Do they just look at you like, I saw that scene, or what?
Mostly guys run away from her.
Yeah.
No, you were talking about being recognized for it. Yes, a lot of guys do say, I'm just, they like the character, they're terrified. But someone came up today and was like, you were Penelope in Casey Undercover. I was in shock. But yeah, the reaction is, it does tend to be a lot of fear, but I just try and remind everyone, I'm a big teddy bear, I'm a dork. I mean, look at me, right? So yeah. It's been an interesting response. And
you made it through the season, whereas like if I know a little bit about your character, that's not the case in the source material. Do you think that has to do with performance and you? They were like, we like her, we're keeping her around.
I mean, if you like, can I get in here? So there's a lot of characters in the book that are very sporadic and only appear now and then, like Bilquis. Mad Sweeney's only in the book twice. But when you've got the caliber of actor of Yetide and Pablo Schreiber, you use them. And you use them a lot. And that's why they had, flashback episodes where Pablo was able to kind of have a standalone episode to himself because why not use this incredible talent? And the same with Yetide and her whole backstory. And we've got, the best ensemble cast I've ever seen on TV, and it's going to be interesting to kind of really flesh out these characters. So everything that you love in the book is going to be in the show, but we're able to flesh out so much more. So there's going to be even more of these beloved characters in the show. So it really is a blessing, because why not use this incredible talent?
Well, Ricky likes to flatter us, but
Stop.
I think it's also an effect of plot and creating story. You know, the book is so focused on Shadow and Wednesday and their journey. And one of the real, I think, intelligent things about the adaptation is that they took Laura and Mad Sweeney and elevated them to a secondary parallel story with Shadow and Wednesday. And it just gives the audience a lot more to latch onto. And with characters like Bilquis and Technical Boy, and now we're going to start to learn more about these, the more people you give the audience to care about, the more they're going to invest in it, rather than just having the two characters on their solo journey meeting these random people, you know? So the more we flesh it out, I think the more investment there is from the audience.
It's all the difference between taking a book and turning it into a series, because the idea is you don't want to do just one season and like, hey, we're done. They want to be able to keep these things going, so you can take secondary characters, and if you have the talent like behind them, stretch it out. Suddenly people are like, I'll watch a whole episode about that character, about this character, rather than just the main story. But I as a sometime creator, and I don't create a lot of great stuff, but it's really, you go to, what do they say, you go to war with the army that you have. It has everything to do with the actors. Like, the show only gets as good as it can. Writing can be wonderful unless there's nobody to handle it. And if you've got people to handle it, that inspires great writing. So congratulations. When you guys did your panel, you kicked it off in a very spirited way, I read online. Let's talk about that.
I said a couple of things. All of a sudden, Ricky gets crazy political at New York Comic-Con. Ricky for president. No, I'm not even American. I can't do that. American Gods. And there's about 3 Americans in the show. But it's all good. Yeah, it was, you know, I'm a very honest person. You know, I don't believe in shying away. I believe silence sides on that of the oppressor, you know, and as long as we're silent, oppressive people are able to kind of keep everyone down. And so I think we should always be able to speak our minds. That's the great thing about America and about lots of free countries, where it's your opinion, and you should be allowed to express your opinion no matter what. No one's got any right to keep you down, to tell you who you should be, what you should be, and I just mentioned that a little bit at my panel. That's the great thing about these cons. You know, that's the world is really messed up right now, and you come to these conventions, and you don't have to apologize for your passions. You don't have to be embarrassed about dressing up. Everyone comes here because they're passionate about something, you know, and you can just be yourself, and that's a magical thing in the world today, where with the world full of Twitter trolls and bullying and things like that. So I really love coming to conventions, because it's just so much positivity and smiles and people just being themselves, not apologizing for it, loving life, loving who they are. They start connecting with other people because all of a sudden they're meeting people with the same passions. It's just a world full of love. So continue that positivity, continue these safe havens for us all, because we've been to them all around the world, and it's the same around the world. It's no different. America's the same. We did Paris, Germany, Australia. So you don't realize how magical and beautiful these places are till you come to them. So I encourage everyone to come along, increase that positivity, and you never know. Maybe that'll filter into normal everyday life.
A beautiful sentiment, man. Give it up for that. In terms of fandom, it's wide, diverse, and some of our favorite programs or characters bring together a bunch of different folks and whatnot. There are all sorts of different fandom, as we see here. This is more about the genre that we love. You're from a program that has a completely different fandom. You were on The Wire, weren't you?
I was, yeah.
Now, The Wire, like, they don't have The Wire Con or anything like that, but no matter where you go in life, everyone knows that show. In our industry, they use that show to cast like crazy. As you've seen through the last 10, 15 years, a lot of people wind up on, when that show wound up on other great shows. Do you still get that in the world? We heard it right here in the room, man, at a con. People are like, woo, how much do you get Wire?
Yeah, it was one of my first gigs coming out of college. You know, I was just a young buck, and so I still get it occasionally. I'm just really proud to have been a part of it. I think it's one of the greatest shows ever made. I think David Simon created a canvas on that show that is unparalleled in modern TV history. So just to be associated with that for me is a real source of pride. You mentioned the casting, and Alexa Fogel is the casting director, and I think it's one of the great casting jobs ever done on television.
Who's the person's name?
Her name is Alexa Fogel.
Brought
She casts
together
all
some
of David Simon's shows.
Some of the best actors on the planet. who are
Yeah.
still
No,
working today.
she's a real treasure. So, it's one of those people who labors behind the scenes, doesn't get a ton of credit, but every job she ever does, she makes great TV. So, I love having been a part of The Wire, and it's something that continues on and travels with me wherever I go in a really nice way.
Did they have they told you guys you're going to a season 2 on American Gods already?
Yeah. We're looking to. We were very fortunate that after episode 2 of the season 1, we were announced for a season 2, which is kind of unheard of and kind of cool and very relaxing for us. You don't sit there sweating about your next meals and stuff. But we just want to get back. With the first season was so fun to shoot and the great reception that it received from you guys. So we will be heading up there probably early next year, which unfortunately means that you guys won't be getting it till the very earliest at the end of next year, possibly after. Nothing's
2019.
Nothing's
That it,
confirmed.
really?
Sorry, guys.
Well, I'm not saying anything because I don't want to be a dream crusher, Pablo. Jeez.
Reality, baby, reality.
It's so real.
It'll take us about 4 or 5 months to shoot this season, and then there's like 5 or 6 months of visual effects that they do after that. So.
Yeah.
So the earliest we're seeing is 2019.
Yes.
I would say early 2019, but like I say, nothing's confirmed, Pablo. Maybe it'll be sooner, guys.
When do you guys see the scripts? Do you see like a script for the episode you're about to shoot week of, or do you get to read them all before?
I mean,
you
we were quite fortunate for season 1. I had 6 of the 8 episodes before I even walked onto set, before I even got to Toronto, which is where we film.
Tell them why that's important to have that many scripts in advance.
Well, it's important in any show, but a show so complex as American Gods, where I have to read my scripts with a dictionary and a thesaurus, it's very important because I need to know what I'm saying. Sometimes, I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes I honestly don't understand what my character is saying, and I need to know the intent and what he's trying to get across in each line. So, it's important to kind of work with your lines, work with the producers and what they're trying to get across in a scene or in an arc. So I was able to work with Brian Fuller and Michael Green and our director, David Slade, for the first couple of episodes to figure out kind of the feel and the message that you're trying to get across. So it's always good to prep. Sometimes scripts come a little later. Sometimes you'll get amendments on the day, mid-scenes, and you just have to deal with it. But yeah, the earlier you get the script, the longer you have to prepare. You can also prepare options. You can throw out different colors, different shades of the same scene. You can turn a scene completely on its head and play completely against the words you're given. So you could have really aggressive writing, and you could play a complete opposite to make it sound nice, and vice versa. So it's always nice to get a couple of peps in the can.
It's also nice to know where your character is heading. If you have episodes, for me personally, like in the first episode, you're in the Crocodile Bar where he meets Wednesday and Shadow, and the way that he interacts with Shadow is infused with a lot of like emotion and strange, like what you don't really know what's happening or why he's so intense about it at the beginning. And I knew early on that I had been responsible for killing his ex-wife. And so without that information, spoiler, Ricky's upset, I just gave a spoiler. Without that information, you wouldn't know how to play that scene, or you wouldn't be able to add those extra colors. But if you know where your character is heading and what's going on, then you can bring a lot more to it.
And I think in this situation, we were all very lucky because we had this incredible blueprint that came from Neil Gaiman himself 15 years prior. So there is a wonderful source material also to go back to. I, for one, my first introduction to Bilquis, I know I had 15 years for that all to sink in, which, I mean, if you haven't read it, it takes a minute. But then you have these incredible individuals like Brian and Michael who foster such a wonderful artistic experience. And so they do think about things like, can we get this to people sooner rather than later, which we know doesn't always happen.
We'll go out on, you mentioned the great one himself, Neil Gaiman. Did he show up while you guys were shooting? Did you guys get to meet the master?
Yeah, I was very fortunate because he turned up for the first episode where Mr. Wednesday meets Shadow for the first time. And it was the first time he kind of saw this writing, this book that he released 16 years previous, that he saw them come off the page. He saw his Mr. Wednesday speak those words. He saw Shadow react and have this great kind of chemistry. I was very fortunate with Ian McShane, who terrible actor, but I feel like I brought his level up. He's young, it's fine, he'll learn. We got time. But we had this great chemistry off camera, and all of a sudden it came on camera, and it really kind of propelled that dynamic. And there he was, just on set, watching it all come to fruition. And it must be a really strange kind of feeling to have something that you kind of concocted in your head years previously, write it down on a page, have this great success, and then years and years later, see it in front of your eyes. But anyone who's not met Neil Gaiman, he's not only the most intelligent man in the world, it's frightening, he's incredibly generous and humble and hilarious. He's got a great sense of humor. And he sits there and he just tells you stories about his life and how he thought up these characters. So where Shadow came from, Mr. Wednesday came from, Mad Sweeney, Bilquis. And the way he talks is almost like he's doing an audio book.
Yeah.
So when he talks, it's very slow and deliberate, like he's telling a story. And you are literally on the edge of your seat going, yeah? And then what? And he just takes his time, but he's so like inspirational and just charismatic. You're just hinging on every word. And for someone who's just such a rock star in the book world, he's just an incredible human being to know, and I'm glad he's a part of this. And he's not left either. He's been a part of all the castings and the episodes and storyline in season 2 now. So we're really looking forward to coming back. You guys waited 16 years for season 1. 16 months for season 2, I think, is a pretty good shout.
That sounds like a justification to me, man.
Nailed it. 16 weeks for season 3.
You guys are bringing to life characters that people have long held in their hearts very dear. That's important work that you do. That's the Lord's work, man. Or it's the God's work. Give it up for the cast of American Gods.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Excellent
buddy.
job.
Appreciate it.
We'll be back in a minute, man. We're going to talk to the director, Professor Marston, and the Wonder Women. Stick around for more from IMDb Live.